He ran to Mama D pretty quickly to tell her the plan brewing to keep Jason. And thus, this was Barrett talking himself out of playing Big Brother, despite complaining for days that he's at the bottom of a big alliance. Barrett and Drew deserve to be at the bottom of a big alliance. What's up, everybody? Let's update some Big Brother 28 feeds. You know, it's been 3 weeks in the house. 3 weeks of the same old shit, unfortunately. Though some messiness happened last night because the bad gameplay is catching up to folks, so I guess that's something. The early part of yesterday was all about Jason and his tea kettle so that he can bang his teapot around the house. He told Taylor early if he sees anyone talking and it looks like game, he's going to let Kamu know because that's how you play the game, right? So he went around every time he saw someone strategizing, banged his pot so that Kamu could be alerted, and went to go tell Kamu that there was game talk happening. First of all, this is great because it pointed out the hypocrisy of Kamu's call out at the tea party. God forbid Jason plays the game when everyone's playing the game. But it also was entertaining. It was very entertaining to see Jason going around. First he saw Devon's D and Lyric. He was like, looks like there might be some strategy here. He poked his head to tell Kamu that Haley, Chuck, and Angela are talking. I was highly entertained. You know, say what you will, at least Jason has tried to bring some entertainment to this otherwise horrible, boring season thus far. Not surprising. I do feel like Drag Race alumni are some of the more entertaining people in all of reality television, so I'm not surprised by this. But yeah, there was more banging of pots, yelling Kamu. Angela's whispering in the bathroom. She's talking game, I think. Be careful. Jason sitting outside, banging a pot, calling out Angela and Chuck for playing Big Brother. I thought Jason did a great job of pointing out the hypocrisy. At one point, Drew, Barrett, and Yash were whispering upstairs. He alerted that as well. I do think, alerting too much of the middlemen and calling out the middlemen doesn't help Jason gather the numbers to stay this week. And he and Taylor later having a conversation that the only way Jason probably stays this week is winning the blockbuster yet again. Of course, it was hateful Haley that was getting so annoyed and so aggressive. The most aggressive person in the house, the person that early on tried to go around and sprinkled out Lala as aggressive. Haley was getting very annoyed with the pot banging, saying if he does that shit around my fucking head again, I'm going to fucking lose it. And Jason could tell that Haley was losing it. Of course, the egg-shaped Karen did feel bad for Haley, and Jason banging the kettle too close to Haley's ears tried to get Jason to stop doing that. But at one point, Jason could see that Haley was going to bust. She's got blood vessels popping out of her face, he said, and that Chuck looked so uncomfortable. And then Jason came up with the idea to call Kamu his girl, his queen, because he knew that would piss Kamu off. And I think this was Jason's way of knowing that there could be some underlying homophobia to the way Kamu has approached Jason in this game. The whole trying to emotionally isolate him. Before getting in the house, Kamu's social media was very anti-LGBTQ. So Jason doing a good job of reading between the lines there as well. But as expected for the power of veto, Lyric used the power of veto, saved herself. Kamu nominated Jason as the renom. Kamu going around yesterday happy that nobody is telling him that they were upset with him for the tea party, like they're gonna tell the HOH before a veto renomination. Like, let's get serious, Kamu. Kamu asked Devin yesterday how he feels about Drew because D did a good job planting seeds against Drew with Kamu, and Devin is very uneasy with Drew. He thinks Drew and Barrett have something. Kamu also said that Drew told him that Barrett thinks he's at the bottom of the alliance, so Barrett feels like he's at the bottom of the alliance, and now people in the alliance are realizing that so that they can either keep him there or, keep him there but try and placate him. This supposed superfan in Barrett was terrible casting. I do think he kind of likes this idea of working with Taylor And he and Kamu discussed how it should just be he, Taylor, and Kamu, that they could have a backup plan if the red corner falls apart. That could be a plan B alliance with Taylor. And later, Kamu was telling Taylor that they can do her alliance similar to the cookout, but it's only going to be he, Devins, and Kamu. I think Taylor is feeling some kind of way about the Tea Party still, though, and I think that has severed, Taylor wanting to work with Kamu closely, but also Taylor might not have too much of a choice if Jason or Lala go home this week. Anyway, Devins told Dee that the best case scenario would be for them to get rid of Mallory without losing Drew and Barrett because they know that Mallory has the vets' names in her mouth. Dee, of course, still thinking that Drew and Barrett will flip on them before the red corner flips on them. Frankly, I don't feel like anyone would flip on the vets anytime soon if the vets weren't being so goddamn paranoid about someone flipping on them. Because this is a cast with herd mentality, and they've done nothing but kiss vet asses so far, especially in that Hateful Eight alliance. So I think Dee and Angela and even Devins have started to do the most with this whole, we got to turn on so-and-so before they turn on us. And it's like, yeah, but I don't think they would even do so if you weren't planting the seeds for it to eventually happen. But Devins is finding Drew more and more sketchy. And he says he's warned Drew over and over for playing both sides. And Drew doesn't seem to listen. And that's true. Dee said that Drew's game is going to blow up. And Devin says that he loves that Jason called out the middlemen, which did need to happen. The main thing I didn't like about Devin's and Dee's conversation yesterday is that Devin said he would take care of Angela with his super veto power. Even though he doesn't want Angela to know he has it, he says he will still cover Angela. I don't know if he was lying to Dee to placate Dee because he thinks Dee and Angela are close, or if he was being genuine. But I don't think it actually would help Devin's game to save Angela with that veto, especially as the day went on. Let's see. Chuck. Oh my God, Chuck. I can't stand him. Chuck was mocking Lala's crying yesterday, mocking her asking, who do I trust? At one point even said, fuck Lala. Of course, this was some conversation with the bros. This is Chuck, who was, preseason before the game started, in his interview saying he is surrounded by girls because he only has sisters and he only wants to work with girls. I think that was a big fat lie. I think Chuck low-key hates his sisters and has a lot of resentment against them with the way he has approached women in this house. At one point, Chuck said, Lala ain't winning a damn competition in this house. She sucks. I don't know why they chose her. Chuck saying this is crazy because Chuck hasn't won a damn competition yet. Chuck sucks. In fact, I would say Chuck is probably maybe the worst addition to this cast, although, Haley and Yash also exist. But Chuck's just there to talk shit about the fellow black people in the house. And, he's saying this about Lala and that Lala shouldn't have been cast. And do I think Lala's playing a game? Not really. I don't think Lala was great casting by any means. But she's not worse than Chuck is. Chuck is going to leave this season liked by the least amount of fans. Yes, even less than Haley, because there will still be enough white people that like Haley. But Chuck is trying to placate for white people, and he's going to have zero black fan base because of it, and he ain't going to have the white fan base either. So good luck, Chuck. Haley was talking to Angela yesterday about how Lala was so nice yesterday. She was so nice to Haley. I mean, I don't even know what to think about that. I don't know if Haley was just feeling that way because Jason was annoying her. But I guess this is one day out of 21 days that Haley wasn't going around hating on Lala for mostly no reason. I think Drew was enjoying Jason's show yesterday, and he talked with Melody about it, that he fucking loves Jason. Melody says she low-key doesn't want Jason to go. Melody would later actually maybe try and get a game together. We'll get there. But what pissed me off before Mallory actually, tried to play Big Brother was fucking Lyric and Mallory and Yash, complaining that they need numbers. And yet all for 24 hours, they wanted to evict Jason, even though that's the strongest shield in front of them. Like, they were not even considering Jason in a vote between Jason and Lala until Melody pitched the idea to save Jason. And, I just shit on my fellow Pisces Melody yesterday because I was so frustrated with everyone on that side of people that are not in the big Hateful Eight alliance, just not doing anything. But I feel like maybe she was just giving Kamu lip service the night before. And she does seem to actually want to do, or at least she at least sees the smarter thing and seems to be the only one with the guts to try to put a plan into action to keep both Jason and Mallory this week, who are stronger competitors and bigger shields for this whack-ass other side. So props to Melody there. But of course, Barrett was a part of this conversation. And even though this weak bitch during the conversation says that it's going to piss people off if we do this, but that's what we're here for. But is that what Barrett's here for? Is he actually there to play Big Brother as a super fan? Because it feels like he's just there to be lazy and be at the bottom of a big-ass alliance. And he ran to Mama D pretty quickly to tell her the plan brewing to keep Jason. And thus, this was Barrett talking himself out of playing Big Brother, despite complaining for days that he's at the bottom of a big alliance. Barrett and Drew deserve to be at the bottom of a big alliance. They want to play a rat game while still being at the bottom of a huge alliance. It makes zero sense. And Drew is worse because he has been trying to save Mallory this week with people here and there. And I think he knows that's right for his game. But he still has to be a bitch for the big alliance. And yesterday he told Kamu that Mallory wanted Kamu, Chuck, and Haley targeted. And yet this was him trying to make a case for Mallory to stay against Lala. It makes no sense. Drew has been very overrated. He's Twitter's fave. But Drew had a terrible day in the house yesterday. Definitely his worst day yet. The sloppiness is catching up with him. Because sloppy Drew went to D to rant about his hate for Haley and Chuck. And then D was talking to it with Angela. D wanted to keep the information until the right time, but of course the egg-shaped Karen immediately ran up to Kamu to tell him about Drew playing both sides, Angela telling Kamu that Drew is trying to play her in D, and that Drew is trying to get rid of the red corner, which had Kamu concerned with the fact that Drew knows the red corner name, because how would Drew find that out? Is it because there's a crossover alliance? So Angela had to backtrack with Kamu about that. And then later when D and Angela talk about what Angela told Kamu, because Angela kind of involved D in this conversation too, so Kamu went and talked to both of them. So I feel like Angela really hurt D's more stealthy plan. It was definitely blown up by Angela here. And I don't think D was very happy about it, although she seems to be having fun with Angela. D's having so much fun because the vets have had an easy game so far. They've had everything handed to them by production. So of course D isn't going to feel the fire yet because everything's been handed to the vets. But D tried to cover for Angela with Devins. However, we need to see how Kamu handles this in either talking to Drew or talking to Devins and what comes from this information. Angela even cornered Devins at one point yesterday, early in the morning, getting him to promise to deny the crossovers exist if Drew and Barrett blow up that alliance, because Angela and D now worried that might happen because Angela already told Kamu all this information and they don't really know what Kamu's going to do with that information. Meanwhile, Drew's game got worse, not just with his own alliance, but with Jason too. Because Melody was asking Jason who Jason would want to stay if he wins the blockbuster, and he thinks that it would serve them better if Mallory stays instead of Lala, which is big because Jason and Lala are close. But I think Jason sees that Mallory is a stronger competitor, and it's what these outsiders need if they would wake up. Jason telling Melody and Lyric that if they have Yash, they only need Drew or Barrett for him to stay in a vote. And I think Yash did get on board at one point last night. But, then Drew's sloppy, shitty gameplay continued to get around for more than just Angela, because Jason was talking to Melody, told some of the things that have gotten back to him about Drew. One of those things was that Haley and Drew were talking crap about the way Melody talks. I don't think ghetto was used in the retell, but Melody did later ask Drew about it, and he played it off in his usual immature way. I think what annoys me with Mallory is that she is a gamer. She has the gameplay in her. She always does come to the right conclusions, but I feel like Drew is a big distraction for her in the damn game. But like with Drew's gameplay, or just his game in general, actively imploding more and more each day, and Barrett knowing more and more each day he's at the bottom of the Hateful Eight, it's still not enough to remove their lips from the vets' asses. I feel like even if it gets back to Drew via Kamu, what Angela said about him, I still don't have faith in these two who have been the biggest bitches thus far do anything about it. Like, if all this can't make them play their own game, nothing will. And social media is stupid. It annoys me every season because 2 seasons ago, social media was giving T-Core and Chemo so much shit for talking in circles, which they would do. But then they did flip on a big alliance to vote out Cedric over Rubina, and people acted like it was stupid. Yet it got them both very far. Now social media is kissing Drew's ass, and for what? Because now not only is he sloppy, but he is weak. So until Drew and Barrett actually wake up and play their own games, I respect nothing about their games. They deserve to be at the bottom of that big alliance. They deserve Angela's terrible gameplay, burying their terrible gameplay. And that's how I feel about the live feeds right now.